The views expressed on this Turnbuckle Tabloid live stream or Turnbuckle Tabloid podcast episode do not reflect the views, thoughts, or opinions of the Rageworks brand, including the Rageworks podcast network, Rageworks content partners, advertisers, and affiliates. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, the listener. In case you haven't heard, because I've been basically saying it for the past few weeks, we just started a new network. Yeah, New York Wrestle Media. It's a whole virtual experience visually for all those connected in the world of wrestling, pop culture, live stream video games. Oh, it's happening. And it's not only me doing it. Yeah. Got a few cohorts who jumped in the mix. Covering subject matters as history, indie wrestling, news of the day, pop culture, and like I mentioned, video games. I know, me too. I'm excited. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Twitch, and on TikTok for New York Wrestle Media. Follow, subscribe, like, be a part of the vibe of all things connected with New York Wrestle Media.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Turnbuckle Tabloid cutting a promo. So this week we mourn the loss of another wrestler that we known for many, many years. Some may love him, some may hate him. But at the same time, the one thing you have to admit is you respect what this person has given to the business. And I want to do this cutting a promo, not to celebrate the life and times of Sabu, in which many other podcasts and such has done, but I want to have more of a dialogue and conversation with you about the importance of what professional wrestlers are doing to themselves and why they do it, and the day-to-day that comes with being a professional wrestler. I have never been one, but I know many, and I've been around many. I've sat in locker rooms with some of them, have conversations with them on the air and off the air. I'm in conversations with one in particular who is going through a major life crisis, doing part of what the rigorous schedule and the constant physicality that occurs in professional wrestling and the transition that occurs with it. It's a testament to what these individuals do for their body, just for the love of it and for the ability and love to be in front of fans. You know, not many people can do that. Even to this day, there are still wrestling schools that are being opened, some more legitimate than others, but there's wrestling schools being opened because they are people who are passionate about getting into the ring and becoming a professional wrestler. I find it that what we saw through the many years of Sabu's career, just the punishment that his body took and the anguish and anger and agonizing brutality that he went through his matches, which was his choice to do. But at the same time, there's something within this person who screamed for something more than just a paycheck. You don't do what you do just because of, the bag that you get at the end of the night. There's something else that comes with it as well. There's something deep down inside you that feeds the hunger of being accepted by a crowd, or just the ability to know that you can go out there and perform at a high level and have the ability to raise either an emotion of joy or anger or sadness. And this is what professional wrestlers do every match that they step into the ring. Every time they step in the ring, and any event that they go to. Sabu started his career early on being tied to his uncle, who was known as the Original Sheik, and the Original Sheik had that mentality of hardcore, taking everything to the brink and going beyond it. Wars with such as like with Bruiser Brody and Abdullah the Butcher and Terry Funk and the likes of. And there's a certain kind of mentality that you have to have when you go into matches like that. There's no disguising it that the kayfabe has already been presented to the world, or what professional wrestling really is. But there's still a measure of pain and constant training and just the body taking a toll, and learning the craft each and every day, even if you're a 20-year vet, and having to take these bumps and going outside and not even just in the ring, but you're also on the road for countless days, months, and years. You're usually sitting down in a car or on an airplane, and you're traveling from town to town to do something in a squared circle for about 15, 20 minutes, if that. Most of the time is just you sitting around, probably doing meet and greets and setting up a ring or taking down a ring if you're that kind of wrestler. You're also going through the motions of working with other wrestlers, that camaraderie, that fraternity, that sorority that they have. It's something that was supposed to be just for the boys and the women, that was just their thing. And now we've seen a glimpse of it, and we still don't understand the toll it takes. There's so many people who sit there and criticize and have their judgments about, how this wrestler performs or what they do and why they do it. As a podcaster, I look at the product. I look at what storylines, angles, how matches are coordinated and such. There's never been a judgment about an individual who wants to take their body to that limit. Listen, not a big fan of the hardcore deathmatch kind. It's not my cup of tea. But for that individual, if that's what it takes for them to get to where they want to go to, and they feel as though that is what makes them a professional wrestler, more power to them. Who am I to stop them and tell them, no, don't do that? Or say, hey, listen, you're doing too much. That's your business. For me, I'm just looking at it towards when it comes to the product itself. Is it necessary for said match or storyline? What do we do? In the early days of ECW, we were so desensitized with it because there was just that aspect of when it got to a Sabu, an RVD, a Sandman, or Tommy Dreamer match. When those guys were ready to go in, even sometimes with Taz, he'll go in. And we knew we were going to see brutality. We were going to see the shots be a little bit more stiffer. And we sat there and we looked at it as though that these guys were really in a fight, you know. But, you know, there was also the variety that was there as well that helped us to not be so focused on just the hardcore razor's edge, blood spewing kind of wrestling. What we did was just that we had an array of stuff. And with Sabu, he seemed as though to be able to, you know, balance the line of getting to that hardcore bloody edge and also give you some high flying, impactful matches as well. This is a man who took, you know, everything to the limit, you know, in the ring, outside the ring. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's explained it in his books. He's talked about it in shoot interviews that, you know, if there was a line, he always went past it. If there was a gauge or a meter, he had to blow past it. That was just the way he lived his life, and that's how he was. You could even see at his retirement match with GCW, the man is 60 years old, and you couldn't tell whether or not if this was a 60-year-old wrestler, if you look at it from a distance, or this was a young man still in the ring. Close up, yeah, you could tell he's older, but if you look at it from a distance, this is a guy who was throwing his body still around ridiculously. I know that the Game Changer Wrestling and guys like Joey Janela and Brett Lauderdale are taking a lot of heat for the fact of what has been revealed, possibly what drugs that Sabu had taken and such prior to the match to go. But at the end of the day, you could only say so much to a person if they really want to go out there and do what they want. Listen, there's many who have said I'd rather die in a ring, and Sabu was one of those guys. Ric Flair has said that he would rather die in a ring, that he was one of those guys. And, you know, it kind of, I feel bad because that leaves the promoter and the owners of the company liable for what occurs. You know, but at the end of the day, if they're going to go do it, they're going to do it. They're going to find a way around it. Just be noted, it wasn't GCW or, for what has been said, or Joey Janela or Brett Lauderdale who was responsible for getting drugs or whatever paraphernalia that was used to keep Sabu ready and prepared for the match. This is something that he's been doing for many, many years. This is something that is part of his regimen, quote unquote. So his handlers knew about it. Everyone knew that he would do this stuff. So this is not anything that is on the blame of GCW. This is just solely on the behalf of what Sabu and his team were ready to do. There's been no clear indication of whether or not that those the actions that occurred that night or the drugs that came in play as of this recording had anything to do with his death. But at the same time, we're talking about an individual who lived a fast life and like I mentioned earlier, made no bones about it. There's a lot of wrestlers who've lived that life as well. We've heard many stories and many instances that this has occurred, and it's an unfortunate thing because many of them, that's all they know. You know, sure, they may have some kind of hobbies and love for passions or anything, but the only thing that they really know is professional wrestling. That's what they do. There's now opportunities where we see wrestlers who are made and they can go and play video games on Twitch and do something on that side, or they have gotten degrees and made something of themselves where they don't need professional wrestling anymore, that they could just walk away and, you know, open up a business, open a real estate agency, do something outside of the ring. But for the large part, for many, many years, that's all they knew. You know, they knew just to walk in, take the handshake, call the match, walk out the door, have a couple of beers, take whatever it is that they take, and move on to the next town. That's all they knew. You know? So when we look at the careers of many of these wrestlers, you know, we don't really realize and understand what they're doing to themselves, but also doing to those around them in their lives. You know, we hear stories of wrestlers who leave families at home for 300 days out of the year just so they could provide for their family. And, they're missing that time away from, their loved ones. And many times we've heard stories of broken homes and individuals never really coming back from that. We get wrestlers who come into the business and they're broken already, and this is their way to escape. And the way that they come in is just, they need to feel something. And if it's an adrenaline, if it's bumps, if it's pain, this is the way they go through it. A lot of people, they love to bash it and say, yo, why would you put yourself through this knowing that the sport isn't real? It's the F word. And it's, well, why would you want to play on a sport where you know that every 30 seconds you're going to get banged up really, really hard? Or just to win a piece of metal, or just for something that could go on your finger, a band that could go over your finger? Many people do this because the money's great at one point in time. It'll be great. And you do it to hear the crowd. You want to feel that. And that's what a lot of them do. Some of them go in and not really have that feeling of love or passion for it. We've heard stories of those who just come in, get their bag or whatever. But at the same time, regardless of them maybe not being passionate about the business, there's something that still says, I'm going to go in there and there's a possibility that I could get really hurt or something bad could really happen. So you go out there and you do it anyway. I could always point and say, well, this person never really liked the business. There was rumors of Brock never really loving the business, or Goldberg never really loving the business. There have been rumors of that. But at the same time, these are two individuals that can walk away right now millionaires because of what wrestling has done for them, where they can go and work and do outside things, but there's still a draw to bring, or want them to come back, and they'll come back. They could tap out of Stone Cold. God bless him. 60 years old, he had a hell of a run, and, a little bit under 25 years ago, walked away clean. He still had years. He still had gas in the tank, and he said, nope, WrestleMania was my last, and was probably the hardest thing that he could ever do. But when he walked away on his own terms, because he had options. He had other opportunities he could reach out to. For many years, a lot of these wrestlers didn't have that. Sabu didn't have that. There's wrestlers out there that didn't have that. They can go and build a life somewhere else. You sit there and in awe of what the countless hours that they've put in the ring, and the years of just traveling all around just for, as the terminology says, the hot dog and a handshake. It's a remarkable, but yet also sad look at what professional wrestling is. But you also want to sit there and say thank you for the passion that you had to do it, so that you can share that with me, so I can sit there and applaud or boo or cheer or whatever it is that you're doing in the ring. So I could sit there, and pay my money so I can be a part of your life, your career. There's many people that I've seen go in through the indie halls, and you turn around and they're in the show. I've had people's friends that I knew that I look and I'm like, I had beers with this dude. He was one of my students or whatever. I could say that because they had the love for the business. It's sad when you hear the stories of what happened to those who got that shot and wrestling just didn't turn out the way that they expected it to. It's sad that, it's the same as being able to hit a 3-pointer or hitting a baseball out of a park. Like those are one in a million shots. And now the game is getting even wider with so many people wanting to get into wrestling. They know that they're not going to crack. A lot of them know that. A lot of them are still in their local towns or cities doing what they do, and they're happy with that because they know that Friday, that Saturday, that Sunday, they can take off the suit and tie or take off that that tool belt and go into a makeshift locker room and put on makeup or wear the spandex or hell, wear the gimmick that you wear when you wear in real life. Like, it is what it is. And they could go out there for, like I mentioned, like those 10, 15 minutes and make an audience feel, an audience of probably 10 to maybe 35 people in a certain towns. Or if you're lucky, you get 400, 500 people in a venue. That's when you really you're like, yeah, this is what it is. This is my Madison Square Garden. This is my WrestleMania moment, because they'll know that's all they have left. That they may not be able to go further than what they are. Or even worse, when they've made it, they've cracked, that ceiling that they didn't believe that they'll ever break. They made their WrestleManias, they made their Starcades. They've been at Slammiversaries, and then they're on their way down, and now you're sitting there watching them back at those bingo halls or those armories. It gets, you kind of feel sad, but at the same time, you should be able to go up to them and tell them, thank you. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for helping to give me a reason to enjoy professional wrestling. There's been rare times. There's been few times where I approach people who have been in the business for so long. I've never been one to be a fan chaser or a groupie, as they would say, or mark, whatever the case may be. I've never hardly, it's rare that I do that. But the moments that I do and I have the opportunity to do that, the first thing I do tell them is thank you. When I met Mean Gene Okerlund, I said thank you. When I met Kevin Nash at Scott Hall, I said thank you. I met Chavo Guerrero. I asked for hell. I met fucking Sandman by a bar. He wasn't drinking though. Sandman wasn't drinking, but and I thanked him for all he's done, because you get paid, but also what the real payment for a lot of these wrestlers is to know that you saw them do what they did in that ring. Everybody's out there busting their ass, from low-level workers to guys on the main event card. Everybody's out there putting 110%. They want to climb that card. They want to stay on the top. They want to be there. And sometimes, rarely, you have that ability. But at other times, in cases like Sabu, those instances are too far and in between. I know he had a rocky relationship with many. I know that he have said some things in his personal life that may have rubbed people the wrong way. And to each his own. If you agreed, you agree. If you don't, hey, it is what it is. But for guys like him, hell, for guys like Steve Mongo McMichael, who passed away as well, who not only threw his body on the line in professional wrestling, he was a NFL player playing for the Chicago Bears. And another one, understood the risk that he was taking. And who's to say whether or not those bumps, those crashes that he would take in every 30 seconds, every minute, wasn't a cause for his debilitating injuries or the reason why he had ALS. Who knows? So if you ever come in contact with any wrestlers who are on a decline, or any wrestlers who are currently in the business, or just anyone in the business themselves right now who are doing what they do so they could put a smile on your face, to make you walk out of a venue and say, wow, I felt something, anger, sadness, happiness, joy, excitement. If you get the opportunity to meet these individuals, tell them thank you. And Sabu, I thank you for what you've done for professional wrestling and for the fans. When we come back, we'll be discussing what occurred this past week at WWE Backlash. So guys, don't go away. Stick around. Much to talk about. And as always, check you guys in a sec. What's good, everybody? Back in the hills. Your boy Jay Santy here, popping up for WWE Backlash recap. Yeah, I'm a day late and $1 short, but listen, I had to go see Thunderbolts yesterday. Yeah, and actually a pretty good movie, honestly. If you want to go check it out, it's a deeper, more, dare I say, more intellectual kind of Marvel movie as opposed to other ones, but yeah, it was a good movie. Pretty stoked to see what's going to happen down the line for the new phase for Marvel. They're pretty much hyping up what's going to happen for the this next phase, especially leading up to the Fantastic Four coming in. I'm excited for that as well. But other than that, WWE Backlash 2025. Just to recap, just jumping on here for a quick recap, just to get my thoughts, my opinions out there, what's going on. Just had a phone call earlier from one of my co-hosts / participants in New York WrestleMedia. Make sure you check us out there as well on New York WrestleMedia. Much love on that side. And like and subscribe to us there on YouTube. Having a conversation about what's going on with WWE right now and what's their take on the company and wrestling as a whole. And the gripe is whether or not with WWE or wrestling as a whole is, are we looking at wrestling as if it's fun or if it's real or if it's, and I'm like, it's wrestling, guys. I mean, honestly, granted, okay, nonsensical storylines, an inability to captivate the audience with a story, being able to gravitate and have some type of charismatic appeal is big on trying to hold your own in, keeping an audience. And at the same time, it's like, you got to make the fight seem real. But I'm like, yeah, but the only thing short of doing that is actually legitimately punching somebody or kicking him in the face. Like, what more can you do? It's always crazy that it always happens that way, that people always got to have some part of their moment in wrestling to where they wanted to get to feel of it, of being so real. And it's like, guys, sometimes you just got to sit back and just watch it and just take in what it is that you're getting. I've done it with AEW. I've given up on the storylines angles or being able to commit on that. I'll watch for the matches and I'll have a good time watching the matches. That's one thing that'll keep me going. One love, Jay, keeping it real as always. Thank you, my boy Isaac, my man, big, steady, sexy over there. Our boy Isaac Rodriguez, showing love to that guy. The Arrival coming soon, guys. Make sure you check that man out in that promotion as well. Big things coming up that way. Yeah, man. I gotta take this as we're not looking at the era of wrestling or what it used to be years past. It's not there anymore. And say what you will about kayfabe being gone. kayfabe, ruining the business, of people pulling back the curtain too much. It always sucks that, we now know how the steak is made, how the butcher is slaughtering it back there. It is what it is. Shout out to my boy, wrestling fan Frankie. Salute, my guy, as always. It's just, it is what it is. And right now we just got to take what we take and do the best with what we can. It's just part of, it's part of wrestling now. This is what we got to do. So, I took that into consideration when thinking about WWE's Backlash, storylines, angles, and what we were leading up to for this. Big shocker was that we didn't get Jay versus Logan Paul on this, but did we really want to see that? Did we though? To be honest, yeah, I didn't think we really cared about it. And I think the matches that went on this card were shockingly more important and more of a draw than that Jay and Logan Paul match. I really believe that there was other things there that could have that really led to getting more of an audience to be more invested in it. And I think it panned out for the best. So leading up the night, we had the curtain jerker that opened up, was the Fatal 4-Way match between Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Damian Priest, and the incoming champ, the United States champ, coming in, and Jacob Fatu. I have to say, although it was spot heavy, I do have to say that it was spot heavy. If that's what we want to look at it as, it was spot heavy. It gave everybody their time, their moment, their place to shine, as to say so. I enjoyed it. You had the spots where Knight was going over big, then we had Drew going over big, and then Priest going over big. Then finally, Jacob gets his spots. I pretty much felt it wasn't too hokey. It gave time for everyone to get, as they say in the business, let them get their shit in. And I didn't think it hurt the match at all. I thought it actually did everyone justice in here. You have four of these men. Each one of them can be main event status right now. We're hoping in the next year or so this is going to happen, because with what'll happen down the line once Cena's gone and what happens with that transition, we need to see who's going to be the next one that elevates, that bumps up to that next level. So each one of these men could be in that that upper echelon, as they say, of main event status. I was really pleased on how you saw men fight as like men should fight here. And then especially when you saw it spill over where Damian and Drew took the fight to the crowd and hit that spot outside off the soundboards and stuff like that to draw away from what was happening in the ring. As much as people will say about how Drew McIntyre is unhappy with his situation, blah, blah, blah. There's so much fucking gossip and nonsense about this shit. At the end of the day, the guy looks like he's having a great time, and it looks like he's fucking pulling his weight there. And shout out to him. Apparently he suffered a concussion during this match as well. So thank you to putting your body on the line and being sure. And we hope for a speedy recovery with Drew. The big thing that happened that night was the what is it? Yep, that's pretty much, yeah. I like Jeff Cobb being in this group. We got the big surprise that occurred during this match. We saw a rumored debut that people were speculating was going to happen on this night, and sure enough, it did. We saw Jeff Cobb come out of the audience, and yeah, I'm eager to see what happens here. I'm eager to see what they're going to do with him here. There's already rumors and such that they're going to change his name. I know people aren't happy about that. I'm like, it's whatever with me. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. But I'm just hoping that they do the guy some justice. He's 42 years old. I didn't know he was, getting up in that age. So this is probably the right time for him to make that last bank, that last money. I like the pairing that there seems to be alluding with him to get part of Bloodline 2.0 new version, and looks as though there will be some tension there between he and Jacob, and also Solo being involved with bringing somebody else in. It can lead to an interesting dynamic here. Big part about this is the fact that, that's going to be a face off, and you're already teasing the fact that Jacob is going to be turning face soon. It's already in the cards. People already know this is happening. It's happening. You really have to know that the audience is already riding this this wave out of him doing healer stuff, because he's already got superstar babyface happening for him. So it's gonna be interesting. I guess that's what we're leading to, because since Jacob will be going face sometime down the line, we'll see Cobb filling that spot. Excuse me. And I also want to see how Solo gets involved in this, and as well how this plays out with him. We get a retaining Jacob Fatu 1755 in the books for a nice curtain jerker, not to say the least. I was not upset about opening a night with this match. Next up, we get, for the women's IC title, we get Becky Lynch versus the holder of the women's IC title, Lyra Valkyria. I have to say, shockingly, I would have bet this match had gone the other way. I did not see it going the way that it did. By the way, I don't care what anybody tells me. This was a fantastic match. These women killed it. I'm sorry. They did their thing out there. Just the back and forth, the tension that was there. We felt it in the build up, but then when the match opened up, we felt that the technicality, when the lockup happened, how they were they worked it. I'm very pleased to see that these women were actually putting on such a wrestling clinic. And this is what I'm saying, that people get to say that, that there wasn't wrestling there, but there really was on this match. We saw the back and forth going on. Brother AJ, was good, my guy. I was very much invested in watching this match, especially when it came down to they gave you every element as part of anything they had. They had the technical aspect, they had the strikes, the back and forth, the near falls and such, and then finally, when we did get a pinfall by Valkyria, we saw immediately how Becky responded to it, and I thought it was the smart move to pull that off. I thought it was you had to show that, yeah, she got the best of me, but I wasn't done yet. I'm very much invested in how much further this story goes. I honestly believe that there's a lot more that could be done here. Between you and I honestly thought that that Becky was going to win, but I think they're just going to drag this out a little bit longer, and which is cool. I'm fine with that. I think it helps out down the line for this and what comes into play later on, because we got to see Bayley jump back in here, right? This has to be a door swinging open for Bayley, right? So we'll just figure it out. Maybe if this occurs, maybe Monday night down the line, we see a returning Bayley, and we'll see how these two put this together so that maybe a 3-way, who knows? Ooh, for Money in the Bank. Lyra retains here at 1845. And yeah, it was also good to see like the agents come out and, try to, separate them and all that. It was a really good match. Really, really good match. I would not be surprised if it's on everybody's top 10 for 2025 this year so far. Next up, we get for the WWE's Intercontinental Championship, we have the man himself, Mr. Cero Miedo himself, Penta, going against the reigning, defending Intercontinental Champion, Dominic Mysterio. So, like I mentioned, I was speaking to one of my co-hosts on the phone earlier, and they were very much impressed. One thing that they could say, they were very much impressed on the execution of Dominic Mysterio, how he looked on said night. I must agree, though. I have to say that Dominic looked sharp. Dominic looked as though like he was ready to work, and he sure enough did. He was very much out there putting in the work, putting in his blending of what would be deemed luchador, and then also using his style as well. I know, a lot of people have some feelings about him being, Nepo baby and such like that. But you know what? The kid has earned it, man. You got to, what's right is right. The kid has earned his way. He's made his way. And sure enough, he's got heat. Fans are all over him. And it's well deserved, man. The kid is fucking making it. He held his own with Penta. Penta looked much better, much cleaner in this match. I know the past couple of weeks has been hit or miss with him, but I believe that he's now gotten more comfortable with the WWE way, and it's all about pacing. Everything is not about having to be flashy and fast paced at all times. It's all about if you're gonna get your high spots in, know when to kick it and get it into get a gearing, and knowing what the timing and knowing where the exact moment is where we could shock the crowd. We had interference coming in with Carlito, Finn, and JD McDonough, but the referee was able to get everybody out of there, noticing the shenanigans that were occurring. And it was looking as though that Penta was going to close out this deal, but then we get a visitor with El Grande Americano Maricon. I'm hoping, excuse me, I'm hoping that this is going to lead to a mask versus mask match between Penta and El Grande Americano. I hope this occurs. This can be a fun idea and premise. I want it to be that the match happens and it's not Chad underneath there. I would like it to be that it's someone else under there. What's up, my brother, my man, Green Eyes? What's good, boy? I'm hoping that you're able to still catch up with some wrestling while dealing with a newborn. Congratulations on that, brother. Yeah, and the newborns could take some time on your hands, bro. But much blessings to you, fam. Yeah, I'm hoping that they do some shenanigans like that where they take the they take the mask off and you find out it's like one of the Creed brothers or some shit like that. So, we shall see, man. But, Dominic gets the win here after some, shenanigans. 920. Really? That was only once? I thought it went a little bit longer than that. Wow. Shocking by that. Yeah. Dominic retained here. I would have had it already. By this time, I thought some kind of title would have changed hands. I would have thought it would have been Lyra and Becky. Didn't really see it here, but I was surprised that down the line that we didn't see one happen. Next up down the line, we had the match that the crowd was invested in. I was shocked to see how much the crowd. I thought you would have thought that they were watching Steamboat and Savage. You would have thought that you was watching Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson and Ring of Honor or something like that. This is how much the crowd was invested. But no, it was Pat McAfee versus Gunther. And man, I was shocked at how many people love this. I guess this was more storytelling than anything. I wouldn't believe it any other way it would have been. I guess this was more of the story. I mean, we weren't going to see, like a Bruno versus Gorilla Monsoon match where, it was a powers that be. But like, once again, the audience did that, man. It's been crazy while it's how the fans were. This was killing me. They were really invested in it. Much appreciated, brother. She's doing really good while resting. She's showing interest in that's yeah. You got to start them young, right? Definitely. Big Rob, what's good? What's good, my guy? You hope all is well with you, sir. Yes, I'm back, getting my lives in, making sure everybody pops in, checks in. Want to get some reps back in once the computer came back. I need to get my lives back on. So thank you guys for liking and being a part of it, showing me love, and also make sure you like and subscribe, be a part of the vibe of everything in Turnbuckle Tabloid and as well on New York Wrestle Media, sir. Yeah, I didn't expect much from this match. I mean, honestly, I would have not been mad if this was a squash. It would have been okay with me if it was a squash. I'd have been like, whatever, it's cool. But we didn't get that. We actually got a fight. It's just, I didn't even expect the involvement with Michael Cole, but this occurred, and yeah, I can't say I was upset by it. I think, how long did this go? This went 14 minutes. I was like, really? Okay. But I guess, like I said, it was more the fans' involvement. They loved the part where Cole holds the leg, is trying to help McAfee out. Mac hits his punt move. Was a close call. Then we had an instant kick out. I mean, Gunther really just was here to, I guess, prove to everybody that he's a dominant man. And to say that McAfee hung around with him and was up to, this is not one of those matches where I would have said Pat McAfee looked like he didn't look like the Pat McAfee I saw in NXT going up against like Adam Cole and shit like that. That's, I'm not to say, and it's not to take anything away from him. He is older and such. So I wouldn't be amiss to say that, yeah, he's, he's not going to be doing the same shit he was doing before, but he tried. Our boy Matt is in the building. Yeah. So I wouldn't have to say that he wasn't doing much here in this match, but, very interesting to see how this was played out as well. Omog might check in. They said weird match where if it's leading to Goldberg versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Well, we'll see. I mean, I know this is what I guess they think the fans want to see, or this is just Goldberg tooting his own horn, wanting Gunther to be the blow off that he wants to have. I don't know. Don't get me to lie. Yeah, he shouldn't be. No, it's I don't know. Rob is saying, yeah, to be honest, that was a good match. I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't. I just was like, 14 minutes? Okay. All right. I thought it would have been a little bit more. Erica checks in that whole was booked only to have seen an Orton match. I really think that like I said, with Gunther, does it hurt him? No, but I don't think it did him any favors either. And then especially at the end, he gets the win here, and then he's, shaking hands and kissing babies. I don't know, like, I'm hoping that on Raw he comes on because, I guess he showed his respect. But I'm like, what was the purpose? I mean, what do we do here? What was the real, like, I don't know. Not a bad match to say, but it just seemed like filler. Could Logan and Jay win here? Maybe not. Could this been a Raw match? Maybe this could have been a Raw match. Could have been. The show respected them, possibly leading to Gunther face turn. Then why face Goldberg? I don't know. And why Gunther right now? Keep him an asshole. All right, maybe his next match is he wants to go after commentators. Maybe his next match should be Wade Barrett. Give Wade one more match. Let him just go down the line to certain people, and then finally he gets to Goldberg. Maybe he'll do that. Let him start going up the chain of command, like when we do the Mortal Kombat ladders when we're going up there. Let him go after every other commentator. Let him do Wade Barrett, then he'll do Corey Graves and somebody else, Booker T. And then finally he'll get to Goldberg. I mean, I don't know. I like I said, it just felt a little odd here. But like I said, 14 minutes was this match flat, and Gunther gets the win, showing love and solidarity to all. That's all it was. Great shot with Wade. One more match. Yeah, like I said, and he still looks good. He looks great. He looks like he's ready to go. So why not? It would be crazy. Book themselves into a corner. It seems like they did. I mean, that, or maybe this was just Pat McAfee's, because I know he went on Twitter and he was alluding to something. I know people were speculating that maybe this is his last match in well, his last showings in WWE. I don't think it's his last match. I just think that he's probably not going to wrestle anymore. I could get that. I could understand that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Then finally we get for the main event. We get for the 200th and I forgot how many times they said that they wrestled. It was a lot. Oh, it was a lot. I believe it was like, it really had to be like 200. It had to be up there. We had Randy Orton going up against the man himself, John Cena, for the undisputed WWE Championship. I find it. I wanted to get into the whole Cena thing. I was leaning into it for a little bit. I really was. And I felt that he had promos that were okay. It was leading into something that can, we could probably bite our teeth into and say, you know what, John? Okay, I get it. You're not happy with the fan base. You felt like you've been used and abused. Okay, John, I see that. We got we got pushed to the side with the whole Rock thing. That basically really didn't do that any justice, honestly. The only thing that it did was basically say, hey, you know, I guess the two Hollywood individuals got to link together to show that, you know, I mean, whatever was important, until we find out that Rock pretty much buried the fucking the storyline and such. But I still had this feeling that Cena is not really that comfortable doing this. He really hasn't fully committed to this thing. I'm just trying to like figure out what's the deal with that. Like, they added up all the tags, multi-man tags. Yeah, pretty much. That's how many times they face each other for real. Yeah, that's the reason why they had all those goddamn matches together. I would bust Gunther's ass with the same like, but I weigh him. 277 is solid, my guy. Corrections would do it to you. Got to compete with monsters locked up. I hear you, Jack. Shit, I hear you. I just want to see if you take one chop, though. I'm gonna see Green Eyes. Let's see if you take one chop. You go hold that chop down. You can square up. You can square up. Yeah, man. Rest in peace, Sabu. Crazy, right? Sabu goes out like 2.5 weeks after his final retirement match. He took a bad, if you guys take a look at that match, he took a bad spill during that match as well. Not to say that had any involvement on the reasoning why, but yeah, they got to remember this guy is 60 years old. Like, you can't be out there taking them spots, bro. Like, but you know, I could always say that if you're gonna go out, you're gonna go out your way, and sure enough, that's what he did. You know, he went out his way, and I'll be doing a retrospect of that as well. I'll be having a conversation about Sabu on this episode later on down the line as well. So, yeah. So the whole Cena, like I said, I really wanted to get into this whole Cena thing. Really wanted to have it happen, but he just can't commit to it. Cena's afraid to pull the trigger fully on his heel turn, especially this last year, to seeing him wrestle where fans should be cheering him. But you know what took me there as well. You know, even after the match, is the fact that people are going to be thanking him anyway. You know, it's going to be, you know, especially they going from town to town, they're going to be thanking him anyway. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, man. You got the bad news on your birthday. That's terrible, Rob. Man. Brother AJ's on his way to the Mets game. Listen, this is the time to go. This definitely is the time to go. We're Mets are looking really good this year, man. So let's get it now. As a matter of fact, like I told you, I'm gonna be going to a little bit more games this year as well. So I'll be there. Oh, that's cool, man. Get the 10 bell on. For me with Cena is like, I'm watching Peacemaker, right? I'm starting to watch it because season 2 is about to come out soon, right? So I'm watching it now. And he plays such a natural ass on there that like, that would have been such an easy thing for him to do, to transition to for this. I mean, he's actually pretty damn good on that show. And I don't see why he couldn't move it that way into WWE. He had that moment at the end of the like, what am I doing? Then, oh yeah, I'll get to that. But, the match itself, Randy, of course, getting a superstar, pop with being at his hometown. And, yeah, I just have to say, for the match itself, I was fine with it. And as a matter of fact, I was looking for it to be more of a drag along kind of match. But no, the pacing was fine for me. I thought the pacing for the match as well was well done. Using of the tables, you know, Randy just can't really get those tables to break the way he wants to. Randy for years can never get those tables to break properly. But let's just say for these two guys to do what they did at their age and they putting it on the line, I think they did a fine job. The only thing that I can say is you put too much ingredients in the soup. And just towards the end, you're involved so many aspects of that. How many RKOs and are done till you realize that's the whole match. You got to think about it. And the only reason why I say it is because, remember, the RKO and the attitude adjustments were both protected for so many years. Those moves were like, you couldn't kick out of them shits. And, now was the time to start saying, hey, got to burn it out. I remember the story where 3D, the Dudley Boys were talking about how their move was, you couldn't kick out of it until one day they were like, you got to do it one day and somebody's got to do it. So on this night, everybody had to, spill out. When you're playing 2K25, you got to make sure you hit all your finishes. You got to hit your super finisher before it's done. But I think they so many spots, referee spots, they did everything. They made sure to leave you with nothing in this match. They left it there. And, hell, even the Nick Aldis spots, Nick had to get it too that night. Everybody's getting it. I'm more on the fence of the way that it finished, how it occurred, what happened. And of course, Cena's going to give you what Cena's going to give you, which is now the heel finish. That's what you're going to get. Shocking for me, this match went 27:50. Cena retains here. Most interesting part of this match was the fact that when the cameras were supposed to have rolled out, but they continued on, the crowd continued to chant for Cena, thanking him, got a little bit emotional. You can't stop that. That's just, that's just the real human in him. Crowd was showing appreciation for what he's done. 25 years in the business, showing love. I mean, it is what it is, man. And the guy's done so much for the business, and the crowd is showing the love back to him. What's this? Oh yeah, Randy's about to he's got to pay another fine. So we get an emotional Cena leaving the arena, and then we get him at the press conference, and then this happens. No, not R-Truth. Why, Cena? Why? Not R-Truth. He's your biggest fan. He watched you when he was growing up. Is this leading to a Saturday night's main event? Sure it is. Of course it is. It's so ridiculous, man, that what? Kato Common League are employing a veteran enabler. Dude, that's a wrong show, bro. That's on the Dabbleverse shit, man. I'm doing my wrestling over here. Why the fuck are you want to bring that up over here? Do I want to comment? The fuck I care. That's not my job. I don't work there. Fuck I know. I don't know anything that went on at that show. Any case, I have to say that with the Cena thing closing up and, not closing up, but I guess maybe they're trying to figure out if this was the right thing to do, was to turn him heel. I think so. I just don't know whether or not it's going to happen down the line if they're going to turn him back soon. Will it happen by SummerSlam? Will it happen beforehand? Or will he not turn? Will they wait till it's at the end? Yeah, I wasn't there, just like OJ. So, I mean, let's see. I'm more inclined to wait it out. Let him lean into it a little more. Let's get rid of the fucking hat and the shirt. Let's get rid of the whole thing. Change his gear. Let him get back to other shit. It's fucking crazy. Really ridiculous, man. Other than that, man, I really want to say that Backlash 2025 was I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I was entertained by it. I mean, we had some great matches on the card that like I said, the Lyra Valkyria and Becky match, it's got to be on somebody's top 10 for 2025. Gotta be. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Cena getting his ass kicked. I can't stand he never did. At least give man some love for what he's done for wrestling in WWE. At least that. Yo, what's good, Burns? What up, boy? Yeah, I like I said, I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen down the line and who's going to be able to be the one that takes the title away. Who dude, come on, really? What the fuck you doing here? That's what you gonna spend time here for? Oh, please, bro. Yeah, I'm more with how it's gonna play out down the line, and I'm hoping to see that the Cena last hurrah retirement. Will it be that it's because of will it because it'd be Cody retaining, or are we seeing somebody else become integral in his last match? So that's going to be interesting. Like DDT with the Jake, yeah. They need to get back to pay-per-view interest prop. True. Holding out the remotes with him and Steiner. With Braun? Oh, what's Steiner? So Braun Breaker? So maybe the build up for his last match will be greater than what's happening right now. That's just my hope, because right now it's just becoming more of people maybe getting turned off because he's really not leaning into it as he should. Yeah, big shout out to our boy Respect the Craft, our boy Ray doing his thing over there, man. This is gonna be. I refuse to call him Breaker. I get it. It should have. I liked when they call him Spike. I thought it was when he was Spike Steiner. I thought it was cool. I actually like that. But yeah, that's the other thing that's going to be leading down to. We're going to see a road down to Money in the Bank. That's going to be interesting to see how that buildup goes. I'm excited and really eager to see who are going to be the ones that are going to be in place for the Money in the Bank match, as well as how are we going to continue on with the Cena push, and are we going to see any more additions to the Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Braun Steiner crew? I want to see how that occurs. No repeat holder of the briefcase, please. Yeah. I'm going to be doing a show about that too, because we need to discuss who needs to start getting that Money in the Bank. But I will accept a repeat for one person only, and I'll explain why down the line, because that person got a raw deal when they had it. So I'll go into that. But other than that, guys, going to wrap it up here. Got to start recording. Got a new episode of History and Headlocks coming out soon, so got to start recording that now. And for you guys who are watching, thank you guys for checking in and showing me love and showing Turnbuckle Tabloid love, doing much things here. And for those guys, for that dude with the whole Dabbleverse shit, really, my guy? This is what we doing here? We're gonna do that here? Anyway, whatever. Other than that, guys, as always, check you guys in a sec.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff.
Turnbuckle Tabloid.